So not ignoring the topic of money, so it's going to be quite hard, but look into your bank balances, pensions and everything. Try to understand where you are today.
Emily, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about your company Vestpod, but I'm also looking at your book here, which you wrote as well, which is You're Not Broke, You're Pre-Rich.
Yeah.
Right? So where did the idea for this book come from? Because we're also going to talk about money on the show and saving and the lack of saving and good financial advice, I suppose. So
yeah.
Where did the idea for the book come from?
Yeah, so I think it comes from my background actually working in finance, private equity, so more like corporate finance.
Okay.
And then moving into the startup scene, so not having salary anymore and realizing, okay, I need to take care of my own finances.
Yeah.
I can't afford financial advice, so where do I actually learn? And I thought most of the platforms, and I read like all the financial news and stuff, but I think for our generation, it may not be super appealing to get into this subject of money. So I wanted to write about something very practical for your money, give tips, give guidance, give examples to people to really get started thinking about their money. Because money is for most people is generate a lot of stress and anxiety, and money is such a big taboo. So where do you actually go when you want to talk about money and when you want to start looking into your own finances?
Yeah. Well, I suppose when it comes to money, there's number one, who do you trust? Yeah. There's people that don't realize that there's actually good advice out there for them. There's also that one where it's not taught in school.
Yeah.
It's barely taught in college. Yeah. And there's scare tactics out there as well that you don't know who to speak to. And I suppose there's a lot of taboo around embarrassment. Like people won't admit that they don't know about money. And I suppose the biggest learning curve when it comes to money and saving and finances is experience. And I think the 2008 crash, for those of us who are showing our age now that went through that, will have learned something from it. Like I learned a valuable lesson from the crash, where beforehand I had property and I remortgaged to buy more property. I didn't buy the other property in the end, but I still had the money from the remortgage. Yeah. And I didn't give it back, so I spent it, but stupidly I spent it. So my whole learning curve and viewership on money now is completely different to what it was a couple of years ago, right? So what practical advice do you give in this book?
Yeah, so I think I'm trying to really make it relatable for your day-to-day life, because if you think about money, you make so many financial decisions a day, and it can start with your morning coffee. So people say you shouldn't buy your morning coffee, which is ridiculous, or you shouldn't buy avocado and toast. We've seen these articles in the US. Yeah, of course it's a lot of money, but then you need to have like an overall vision about your money, because very early on in life, I mean, in the UK, you're gonna start university, start taking on like student loans, but you have absolutely no idea of how it works. You're starting your new job, you maybe already have 20k, 30k of student debt, so it's super depressing. And if you live in London, people think they're never going to get on the property ladder. It's actually extremely hard to save money. So where do you start actually with the topic of money? So writing the book, it's a little bit like a journey. So you can start from chapter 1 and read until the end, or pick up a chapter. But I start with how to organize your own finances. And I think something that you should do is open all your bank accounts, check how much money there is there. Yeah. Do you have a pension? Do you have previous pensions from previous jobs? How much money do you have there? How is it managed by the pension providers? What are the type of fees you're paying? How are you saving today in a pension? Mm-hmm. Most people are, but they don't actually know how much they're saving a month, so how much taxes back they're getting on their pension, how much their employer is giving us. If you have a house, how much is it valued? How much do you have on your mortgage? Yeah. So I give one calculation that's quite easy for your finances, that's called the net worth. So it's trying to do the sum of all your assets minus the sum of all your liabilities, so everything that you own minus everything that you owe to someone, and you get to one number. Because I thought it was really hard to have like all these numbers up in the air and not knowing where I was. And with this number, you can track it, maybe every 6 months, maybe every year, but you see how your money or your wealth, if you want, is evolving over time. And it can be a negative number. And for most people, if you're in your 20s, early 30s, it's going to be negative.
But that's the problem, right? Since it's negative, people don't want to know.
Yes.
Like, just remember, guys, if you are in a negative position, say you're negative 20,000, ignoring it, you're still negative 20,000.
Yeah.
But at least if you know it, you know where you stand, right?
Yeah.
And I do that now. Every single month, I do things like, right, how much do I have in my current account? How much do I have in my savings account? How much do I have in my investments? How much have I knocked off mortgages? How much do I owe? And I've got, but I know my figure.
Yeah.
I know, like, if I sell everything today and I pay off everything today, am I negative or am I positive, right? I won't say what I am because I'm not too proud of it. But people need to know these things. And again, it goes down to education.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time people don't realize how easy that is to do, and they don't keep on top of it. And I suppose we've got things like the likes of your Revoluts and your Monzos, making it so much easier now for, especially for millennials, to actually track and monitor and save. Because there's scary figures. I don't know if you know the figures, but do you know any of the figures around savings accounts in the UK, especially? Because I think, I could be wrong here, but less than 80% of people in the UK have more than £100 in their savings account. Like, that's scary figures.
I would say it's even less. No, I know, of course. Yeah. And I think with all these apps and stuff, people are slightly overwhelmed also, because you don't really know which fintech you should use, what fintech is doing what. You may end up with a lot of apps. So these apps are really, really good in terms of helping you maybe on the day-to-day, so more on the budgeting side. So trying to understand, okay, am I going to be, will I have enough money this month? Will I be able to save? Or tracking back maybe a few, like the last 3 months of expenses and looking at where did I spend my money? Why did I end up in the red? So I think knowledge is power. So understanding your number first of all, and once you have these numbers, then you can start building a plan, because if you're really passive with your money, it's not going to happen. So if you want to start saving, if you want to start repaying debt, that should be your top priority. And I know it's really hard in London and everything, but first of all, understanding your number, maybe use apps such as, you know, the money dashboards of the world that organize all your finances. I found this really helpful to sort of build a budget maybe, or a spending plan, and try to see, is there any option I could start saving? And saving is not £0 or £200. Can you start with, you know, £20 a month, and then 30, 50, and start increasing this number? And also think about debt and your credit card debt, because a lot of people live with a big credit card balance. They don't really want to look at it because it's extremely stressful. You don't know how you're going to repay this balance, but that should be your top priority, because you may end up paying 18, 20% interest on your credit card,
if not higher,
and you're getting 1% on your savings. So top priority, repaying debt. There's some amazing debt charities out there, and I know a lot of women in my community have been talking to these guys, because you don't want to talk about money, you don't want to talk about debt with your partner or with your friends.
It's important for people to get their head around it, because a lot of millennials now are coming out of college straight into debt because they've taken a loan. Anyone's parents who can't afford to put them through college are getting student loans, and straight away they're in debt. So all they know is debt, and it's normal to them. It's real kind of, I'm in debt with my college loan. I'm on my credit card, where if you can't afford to pay your credit card bill in total each month, you can't afford it. Like, you genuinely can't afford it, because they don't take interest off you if you clear it each month. They only make money, so they don't want you to clear it each month, because otherwise they don't make money. So
but at the same time, you have to use credit. So you have to use a credit card, because you need to show banks, financial institutions, that you know how to manage credit. And having a credit card and using it the healthy way. So the healthy way is, as you said, repaying it at the end of the month. You will show banks that, you know, you're a really good customer and you know how to manage debt, and that will allow you later down the line to maybe get a mortgage or get you know, better rate on debt.
That is fine if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
Right? You can't put an old head on young shoulders. You and me can think that way now and go, right, I'm looking to go for a mortgage in a year's time. I can get a credit card and I'll spend £1,000 a month on it, but I will clear £1,000 a month, because I know the game I'm playing. They're going to see my credit history is squeaky clean. But it's sometimes people think that the credit card money is their money. Like, if someone has a credit card with a limit of 2,000, they're going to go, I have 2,000 to spend. You don't. It's borrowed money, and it's the most expensive money you're ever going to borrow. You know, so who is your audience when it comes to Vestpod, right? what is your typical target audience when it comes to Vestpod? Because I know that's aimed at female investors or female founders.
So my community, Vestpod, is mostly women, 25, 35. Okay. But the book is actually for anyone. I'd say maybe start a bit younger, so maybe 20. And next year we're going on a university tour with Vestpod to do free talks to universities, just help explain to people what are student loans, how do you make a budget, what is debt, like very simple things. So I think 20 to 35.
20 to 35.
You don't need to have money. You can have a lot of money. We're talking about the subject of money, the emotions around money.
Yeah.
How do you build wealth, and also how can you understand for
No, you're right. Okay.
What do I want to tell you? How to. So in the book I also talk about financial plans and how you can navigate your own finances yourself. So start doing it for yourself, give you the tools, the guidance, and then if you want to go see a financial advisor, you can, if you have enough money. If you want to go and work with robo-advisors, you want to go invest your own money and work with professionals, you can. And I will give you all the platforms, some names on how to find these guys also.
Okay, before we run out of time, let's just have a look at your average 20 to 35-year-old, right? If you could give them 3 really good saving or money tips or whatever it might be, what would those 3 tips be?
Yeah, okay. So I have 3 tips. So the first one for me is around organizing your finances. So not ignoring the topic of money. So it's going to be quite hard, but look into your bank balances, pensions and everything. Try to understand where you are today. The second one is make a plan for the short term, but also for the long term. It's quite easy, relatively easy to save for short term, to save for your next holiday, but how hard it is to save for retirement. So can you try to even like draw these little pots of money and start to put money, even if it's a little bit of money, into each of these pots to make sure you'll have enough for the future. Yeah. And the third one is around understanding your value and understanding your worth. So make sure you're paid the right amount. If you're freelancers, you're setting your rate at the right value. So don't underestimate your value.
Yeah, no, it's important. And without sounding patronizing, you need to start. Like just make, like even if it's £5 a month, just make the start, because you'll see it at the end of the year. You go, oh, okay, it's added up, and it just goes to show that it works.
Yeah. And the younger you start, the more your money will hopefully grow. This is super important.
Exactly. Now, just before we end, where can people buy the book?
Amazon, your favorite bookshop, even at Tate Modern, actually.
Yeah? Yeah. So there's a number of places you can buy it, so no excuses. No excuses. Emily, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.